Well, Aussie farmers have more than enough battles with droughts, with floods, China bans, supermarket prices. The list is very long. And now farming communities are fighting to keep their land as the push for renewable energy ramps up.
There'll be at least 10 turbines in front of us.
Not what we wanted when we bought out here.
They don't know much about them yet, but they do know they don't want them next door.
Just behind the trees, which is 1.1 kilometres, it's really close.
Just give us a bit more elbow room.
There's a target this country's trying to meet by the end of the decade.
My government has legislated for a 43% reduction by 2030.
And a little farming town by the name of Lethbridge, northwest of Geelong, has been picked to help us get there.
You know, there's more reasons not to than to have it, except for, to meet our targets in a rush.
This community is the latest in a long line to stand up against renewable energy dropping in on its doorstep, hosting this meeting to raise their concerns.
It's massive, like a massive scale.
Turbines proposed to tower at 271.5 metres tall. That's more than 3 times the height of the lights at the MCG. And there's said to be 60 of them to generate enough energy to power 265,000 homes. And construction could start in 2026 if approved.
It appears these are the tallest ones in the world.
Gary Baums owned and operated the Lethbridge Airport for 33 years. And thanks to the taxpayer, it's just grown and grown.
So we got $1 million for the runway, and the federal government grant was $250,000 to go towards the fuel facility.
That's $1.25 million in state and federal funding for an airport that could go bust if the turbines come to town.
It doesn't really make sense to me at all.
The Country Fire Authority use it, so do police, even air ambulance. But the wind farm proposal means change could be on the horizon.
It's a huge safety risk to fly over the top of these turbines.
As Gary grapples with a future in doubt, locals like Andrea McKendry are worried for the health of humans and local wildlife.
The risk of health conditions, mental health, my animals, it's terrifying.
But experts in the field have a much more concrete idea of what could be in store for the people of this tiny town.
In terms of physical effects, we're confident saying there aren't any.
Professor Steve Robson, Federal President of the Australian Medical Association.
Even though there are no direct health effects from a wind farm or its noise, it certainly can affect people psychologically, and people have a thing about living near a wind farm, and that can affect the way they feel.
And the way they feel about it didn't get off to a great start. Locals say the company didn't do a door knock or call them to let them know. Instead, they stuck one poster up at the local milk bar. As plans for this wind farm surfaced publicly, so did plans by the Victorian government to fast-track approvals for renewable energy projects by 4 months.
Fast-tracking is seriously bad news for this country.
Environment and planning expert Professor Michael Buxton.
They've set a target and they're removing the rules in order to achieve the target, which means that the investor process will put a whole lot of these projects in the wrong locations with serious incremental environmental impacts.
The Spanish company behind the proposal refused to comment on camera or answer our questions, instead providing this statement.
The consultation, development and review process still has multiple years to go, and the community will be able to comment and give feedback on the project's assessments and studies.
It's the unknown, isn't it?
It really, really is.